Chapter 16. At a little past 1 o'clock in the morning, Josie realized that sleep was out of the question. The storm would simply not let up. She tossed and turned, fluffed her pillow, covered her head, and even tried to count sheep, all the while listening to the enduring beeps of tornado warnings coming from her television. "Oh, for heaven's sake," she said to herself, able to stand it no longer. The Southern Belle slipped out of bed and went out onto the back screen porch. She lit up a Winston. Along the horizon, cutting a jagged line, a bolt of lightning etched the dark sky, followed by a rolling crack of thunder, and then a loud smack, transformer blowing up. For a second, the light on her porch dimmed, and then it went off completely. Out to the west, the light show resumed. She began to notice puddles forming in her backyard. The wind whipped at the pine trees. The pine needles were plucked from their stems. "Lord," she said out loud, "I imagine you got some kind of plan. Whatever it is, please protect William. He's all I got left." She then recited the Lord's Prayer. "Amen," she said, and ducked back into the house. A little while later, finally, she fell asleep. At 6 in the morning, the alarm clock said hello. She looked over at her lamp on the nightstand and saw that it glowed, letting her know that crews had repaired any damage the storm had caused. Josie strode quietly down the hall, careful not to wake William, who liked to sleep in on Sundays. She passed old family photos, pictures from years past, hardcover mementos from a happier time. There was Jimmy on his 6th birthday, holding up his new fishing pole. He always looked forward to the days when his father would come home and take him to the Courthouse Road Pier in Gulfport. "Jimmy, you want to go fishing?" "Yeah, Daddy." "Well, go get the pole, son. Let's go." She brewed some brim and lit her morning cigarette. She'd wake William when breakfast was ready. The Black & Decker coffee maker percolated throughout the otherwise silent house. As quietly as possible, she cracked the fridge door and heard the usual suction cup noise of the old dilapidated seal covered in black mold. Inside, pots and pans of leftovers, pecan pie, 2-day-old fried pork chops, a bag of wilted grapes, a half-gallon jug of unopened milk, and the other usual household staples, all awaited hungry stomachs. She could see that a yellow worn Tupperware container full of mashed potatoes needed to be tossed. Down in the bottom drawer, she removed a packet of brine, bacon, and eggs from Del Champs. Josie warmed her cast iron skillet over a medium fire and then stubbed out the butt of her cigarette. With a steak knife, she poked a hole into one end of the bacon package and ripped it open like an envelope. Removed the greasy flap and one by one separated the slick strips and placed them into the pan. In a matter of seconds, a sizzling, cracking sound popped from the kitchen, along with the last drips of the coffee. After the fat caramelized, Josie removed the strips and put them on a paper towel to soak up the grease. She went right to the eggs, dropping 4 of them into the hot oil. With a spatula, she dredged the grease over the top of the yolks, Southern style. Outside, the sun made its way over a mirage of foliage to the east. Down below, in the vast fields of pines and oaks and magnolias past, dew sparkled and tiny droplets of water shimmered light against the blades of grass in her backyard. There it was again, that feeling, the tense, low throbbing shoulder, the prickly circulation in her left arm. Gosh, I wish it would go away. She knew it wouldn't, not until William returned. Danny rapped on the Dempsey's door and let himself in, something he'd done since he was an 8th grader, when he and Jimmy had become best friends. As he crossed through the foyer, the unmistakable aroma of bacon hit him in the face. "Ooh-wee, I'm liking what I'm smelling," he said, reeling into the living room, half expecting to see food and juice on the table already. Morning, everybody. He had an Atlanta Braves fitted cap turned backwards on his head. Hey, Danny Pie, Miss Dempsey said. William nodded, said to Danny that he looked like a new man, and then went back to sipping his coffee. To William, then Danny remarked, Damn, son, wish I could say the same for you. You look like you've been rode hard and put up wet. Funny, said William. I'm stiff as the dead. You get much sleep last night, Danny Pie? Josie's head hung over the kitchen sink with a cigarette in her mouth. She was loading dishes into the Kenmore. Shoot, I slept like a baby, Danny said affably, taking a piece of bacon hostage. I hardly slept a wink last night. I kept thinking a tornado was going to hit or something. Danny poured himself a cup of coffee, walked around the bar, and joined William at the table. I was down at Betting Bob's a minute ago to get some gas, and they were talking about how Penny Kneecase got hurt in the storm. Oh my God, Josie muttered, patting her chest. Penny's my bridge partner. The boys watched as she disappeared to the phone. A few minutes later, the Dempsey mother returned to the scene and said, False alarm, Penny's fine. The Kneecase just got some damage to their house is all. Josie cracked the fridge. You boys want juice or milk? Milk, William replied. I'm good, Danny said, lifting his mug of coffee. I'll stick to the varnish remover. Josie came forward and presented 2 plates to the boys. Hope y'all are hungry, she said. I got pancakes on the way. The boys ate heartily, refurbishing their overworked bodies. Finally, the topic of William's trip came up. I tried to talk him out of it, Miss Dempsey, but there ain't no reasoning with the boy. Shoot, I better luck arguing with a fence post. William sat there and listened like a child who had been misbehaving. He said, Y'all are acting like I'm not even in the room. Y'all want to talk? I'm right here, for crying out loud. Danny turned to William and gave him the man-on-man look. You sure you up to this, big boy? I'm going to find my brother. Anything else? The rest of the morning was spent on how the trip would play out, each of them coming to the same conclusion. They were dealing with the unknown. His life was in the hands of these Dutch people now. Hannah had mixed feelings about Danny's younger brother coming to Holland. First of all, he didn't speak Dutch. How were they just going to slip him into the coffee shop world? It was absurd. Her father had said that Timo de Boer knew how to handle the situation. He would have William ready when the time came. He had a plan. Secondly, she could only hope that Jimmy was out there somewhere, alive and planning his next move. That she was being followed worried her, but it gave her hope that they hadn't gotten to Jimmy yet. Maybe they figured she might lead them to him. Damn, she thought. She'd been the one to bring Jimmy to Holland in the first place. Things were so complicated, she told herself. And she wasn't entirely innocent when it came to all this. She had no choice but to convince herself that her father's plan just might work.